Is it okay for a Christian to date a non-Christian?
Oh
That's
my
the question.
goodness. This is a long-winded question, but to answer y'all, I think that the answer is no. It's not okay to date a non-Christian. as a
Very long
Christian.
story short, if you're looking for a answer right now, our answer is no.
Yeah.
Why no?
Well, I think that from my personal experience, my longest relationship was with somebody who was not a Christian. And the hardest part was what actually led to the to our inevitable breakup is the fact that she was not a Christian. And it was really tough because on paper she was really great. You know, she comes from a really good family, has a nice career. You know, everything looks great, and you know, our relationship had no issues per se. However, the faith aspect was just too big to really ignore. And I remember praying with her the prayer as well, and we prayed together because I really wanted her to become Christian.
Of course.
And so I was like, hey, let's sit down, let's pray together. And you know, I think when you really like somebody, you're open-minded.
Of course.
So she wasn't saying like, no, I will never become a Christian. She was actually open to it.
Right.
And she was like, you know what, that sounds really interesting. And, you know, if you want to pray together, then I will. So we prayed the prayer. She accepted Christ on paper, but then there was no real change.
Oh.
There was nothing in her life suggested that she was a follower of Jesus, that she loved God and everything. The change didn't happen because I was trying to force it.
Right.
And so to answer your question, the number one reason why I advise Christians not to date non-Christians is because a lot of the times you're trying to make the change. You're trying to change the person when it is not your job. We are not God, and only God can change people's hearts and their lives. And so that was a turning point for me in that particular relationship. And also I knew that if I dated a person who was not of faith in the future, even after that relationship, I probably wouldn't marry that person. And so I ended up getting into a lot of relationships just to date, because a lot of the people I dated, actually most of the people I used to date were not Christians.
Yeah.
And I knew inevitably that it would fail because we were not of the same faith, because she was not Christian, and so they were not Christian. And so that was the most difficult part for me, because people can be really amazing, right? There's some amazing people that you've probably dated yourself, right?
No, you're the first.
Yeah.
And the last.
Yeah, that laugh tells you everything. But would you say that you have a similar experience?
Very similar experience.
Okay.
I have exes that pray the prayer too.
Yeah.
Because I was desperate for them to follow God, the same God as us. But it really doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, men, would say anything when they like you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They genuinely want to do the right thing from their mind at that time. But when it comes to faith, it's not just about one prayer. Like, it really should come from their heart. They should be motivated like internally, right? Not just because your girlfriend or your boyfriend wants you to go to church, right? It should really come from you. So
Yeah.
my point of view is that if you are a Christian, it's not only much better, it's really the only way, like that's a bold statement, that you're going to be really truly happy in your relationship, in your marital relationship, be with another follower of Jesus. if you're not Christian or if you're not follower of Jesus, I think it's better that you meet with someone who has similar value as you, so that you don't have so much conflict. And sometimes God is so great, and then he changes both of you, right? And like, let's say two people are non-Christian and something happened in their life and they both turn to God. I've seen those things happen many times in our church.
Yeah.
But it's just really hard when one person is Christian and one person is not.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, if the woman is Christian, I've seen these cases a lot, and they pray for their husband for like years and years, like 20 years gone by, and sometimes the husband becomes Christian. I've seen those cases. You know, our like deacons and people, elders, you know.
At your father's church.
At our father, in my dad's church, and the many cases.
Yeah.
But then it took the woman 20 years of prayer and heartache.
Yeah.
Going to church by yourself, right?
Right.
So I'm not saying it's not possible. I mean, God works in like mysterious ways. However, at the end of the day, that 20 years of prayer, as much as it could be a blessing for someone, like, you know, it's a miracle thing, right? But you have to be the one who prays and have gone through all that alone. So that's my view.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sacrifice involved. And we're not saying that it's impossible, like you said, right? There are cases where one person is Christian and the other person is non-Christian, and then eventually the non-Christian comes to Christ after years and years of marriage and toil and sacrifice and hardships and all that. It is possible, but it's just that you're going into a much longer race at that point. So it's definitely possible, like Paul mentions in Corinthians, anything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial.
Yes.
And so that's the reason why we have such a strong opinion about this, is because if you truly love God, then he's going to come first in your life. But if your partner doesn't see it the same way, then you're in a situation where you're trying to convince that person or yourself that God is coming first in your life, but it's truly, truly difficult to do that. You know, you're trying to go to church on Sundays. You're trying to, you know, go to Bible study, right, and learn more about Jesus, and get together with your Christian friends and learn more about God. Joining an Alpha or something, joining a Connect group at your church, but when you're not Christian, when you're not in that sort of understanding of God and about the faith, then everything seems very confusing. Like, why do you have to do this?
Yeah.
Why is this so important to you?
You get so many more challenges every time you're trying to do something to be closer to God.
Right.
We want to share some data here. So when the research published in sociopsychological journals shows that mixed faith or interfaith marriages are up to 3 times more likely to end in divorce or separation compared to same faith couples. And this stat makes a lot of sense because when like marriage is as difficult as it is. We have the same faith, but still we do sometimes argue, and there are many challenges when you know, life hit you in different way. But then if you don't have the same anchor or belief system or values, it just gets way more difficult to even talk about it. Eye to eye. Right.
Because for a lot of people, faith is their anchor, and it's their foundation of life. And so when you don't see eye to eye when it comes to your faith, how do you go through the toughest times in your life together? How do you go through the hardships and the toils and the tribulations of life that marriage throws at you? And you're praying to 2 different gods.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's literally like one person's, the Israelites, one person is praying to Baal, and then the other person is praying to Jehovah. And you're relying on you have 2 different anchors going on here, right? And so that's where the struggle is. And when you truly align yourself with God and you surrender to him, and you say to yourself, like, I'm nothing without you, Lord. You are my anchor, you're my strength, as David always prays throughout Psalms, right? When you have that sort of mindset and the Holy Spirit is living inside of you, it's really difficult when your partner doesn't see eye to eye, when especially when it comes to the difficult times in life. How are you going to go through that together?
Well, I think our audiences all know that in their head. So now I want to ask you a real question, right? We were both Christians. So why were we struggling with this topic so much when we were singles? Like, why don't you just find a Christian man or a woman? Yeah. Like, that's easy to say. And for us now, it's been done, so it's easier for us to say that. Yeah. But when I was in it, it was not easy. Yeah. It was really hard, and I keep getting attached or be attracted to like this non-Christian man because they were, other than their faith part, they were perfect on paper, right? They were so like attractive. They were so great. Like, they were great people. So I keep getting like attracted. Yeah. So it was hard to stop that sometimes. And then I remember like going to church and I'm like, okay, now do I have to just compromise? Like, someone who believes in God, but then I am not attracted to them. You know what I mean? Right. So that's the hard part. So why was it so hard for us, and how do we kind of manage that like difficult times? Yeah, I think it's a multifaceted question, and there's a multifaceted answer to this, but it really depends on your life stage. So if you are truly looking to get married, and that is your life stage right now, you know, you're prepared, you feel like the Lord's calling you like to get married, and he's like, you feel like he's got that person ready, and you yourself, you're ready financially, spiritually, you know, everything is really set in stone, right? When you're at that life stage, I think definitely you would be much more inclined to seek somebody who is also Christian. Yeah. But when you're not at that life stage, and you weren't for a very long time, right? I weren't. I was dating just to date for a number of years. Yeah. And I said to myself, like, you know, I should settle down, and I should, you know, try and get married, you know, soon. Even throughout my early 30s, I was like, kind of like, you know, I should get married soon, right? And my mom was telling me, my dad would be like, you know, hey, son, it's getting there, you know, it's reaching old. The marriageable clock, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're getting there in age. All your friends and buddies are getting married, and my friends have grandchildren now, and, you know, when are you going to produce yours, right? And I knew that, you know, eventually I will have to get married and settle down, but I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready internally, and so I wanted to have fun. I wanted to date other people that were just very different from me. I wanted to explore, and there's a thrill, you know, and when you date somebody who comes from a completely different background, there's a certain kind of like, it's almost like, you know, when you travel to another country that you haven't been before, and there's something very exciting about it. What is this? Yeah, it's kind of similar when you meet people that are very attractive, but they are not Christian, and they just come from a completely different background from you, and there's something very exciting about it. And when you're at that life stage, you know, there's a struggle. You're gonna go through the internal struggle. You're very much likely going to go through a heartbreak. It's gonna hurt because you know deep in your heart that this person is not the one for you, but it's fun, it's thrilling, and you get attached. And so when this becomes a repetition, you just keep falling into relationships rather than actually choosing the person. You're falling into it. Yep. And so that's what happens. That's the first thing I could definitely think about right now. Life stage. And what about you? What would you say? I think I really agree with that. Yeah. Because when I was not ready to marry, I keep getting into relationship without really marriage in mind. So my biggest struggle was that I didn't really think about marriage, and I date to date.
Right.
And when you're in that mindset, you're going to the every relationship that you're gonna get into have expiration date. So you're not really giving full attention
Yes.
to that person.
Yeah.
So you're just giving maybe 50%, and you're not even going public with that person, right? Or you don't introduce them, or there's a lot of side effects that comes with that, and you're not really like it's not about the person. I'm sure that person is a great person, but just because you don't really see a future with them, you're not really fully in it. So it's not good for neither of you. Like it was not good for me, it was not good for him, right? And I think if my sister or someone who's younger is asking me for this type of advice, I would say date to marry, not date to just date. Always have that goal in mind, and in that way you're going to be able to really give full attention and date well. Generally speaking, in church, there are more female than male. And every church that I've attended, I see a pattern that there are more single women than single men. And I think when you are in your 20s and 30s, especially male, they don't really attend church as much as women.
That's actually true.
Then where are these ladies gonna go find their one? Like what? And then even the limited numbers of men, they don't really hit on any girls in church, right?
Yeah.
That's
Oh, we're getting
whole
into
another
this,
thing.
man. You opened a whole can of worms here, babe.
So it really is a struggle as female. Like, where do we even go to find other Christian men? Okay, I get it that I shouldn't date a non-Christian because it doesn't end in like healthy marriage. I get that. Then like, where do we turn to?
We talk about the difficulties of modern dating, but reality is that it is a lot easier to find people, because finding people to date is much more accessible now. It's easier than ever due to apps, right?
Dating apps.
And so we met on an app, right?
Shout out to Bumble.
Yeah. Shout out to Bumble. I mean, God knows, I never installed the dating app before because I was very cautious and I heard a lot of horror stories about it. But
I used it before, but the problem is it was never successful.
Okay, yeah. So I think dating apps is a really good way to meet people in this day and age. Obviously, I heard some statistics that I think it was like 84% of modern married couples in America are through dating apps.
What?
So it might even be higher nowadays.
Wow,
honestly.
that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, but I think dating apps is really good with good intention.
Yes, that's
So
the keyword.
dating apps, it's not bad. It's not bad to use a dating app to, find your potential spouse, but your intention is very important.
Yeah.
And so for me, on my dating profile, because it was my first time, I guess I didn't know better. But
The dating app ecosystem.
yeah,
He wasn't aware of it
I
yet.
didn't know that you have to put on a front, or you have to kind of just like, ease into how you present yourself. I literally just put on my bio, it was like, looking for a really conservative Christian woman who is looking to raise a loving, stable family. I just literally put that on my bio, and then
And I was like, that's me.
yeah, but
Made it easy for me to sway.
yeah. So for MinYoung, it worked, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
I got you hooked.
That was
right?
amazing.
But I think the intention is really important. So when you have the intention of, I want to get married, Lord, I want to find my godly partner that I could do the rest of my life with. When you have that sort of mindset, God can do anything. He's unlimited, right? And so, use that dating app, use that Bumble. What are some good ones these days? What is the other one? Hinge in America, right? I mean, there's some Christian dating apps that some of my friends used to get married to, and
But you know what the problem is? I'm just gonna speak very bluntly here.
okay.
So when I was single, when I turn on that Christian filter, the pool gets extremely smaller. First of all, there are not many like Christian men to start off, and then even if they are, like, maybe I'm not attracted to them. Like it's a struggle.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to find, because like, first of all, there are not many Christian men, and when you put on that filter, it gets very much smaller.
Yeah, you're talking about the apps, right? Not
Using apps or anything in general. So
Right.
for Christian women, it's a struggle. So they keep going back and forth. I remember, like, okay, filter, like, Christian filter on, Christian filter off. But then the problem, you're 100% right about intention.
Yeah.
Because when my intention was aligned in finding a Christian man who's ready to start a family, I was not even considering non-Christian filter. I was very picky,
Yeah.
right? So then that led me to the right guy, which is my husband.
Yeah.
So intention is important, because in the past I've used it with not very clear intention, and that was more like, okay, I want to find someone that I like, or maybe someone attractive, whatever. The same method did not work.
Yeah.
So of course God can work in so many mysterious ways, but you have to have the right intention when dating.
Yeah, so when you were not intentional about finding a Christian man, your access to the pool of men is just like unlimited. Yeah. I heard girls literally get thousands upon thousands of messages and DMs and swipe rights. You're just getting thousands of matches. But they're just not the right ones. And so I think in this aspect, you need to have faith, and full faith in God that he will lead you to the person that he has in store for you. He already planned somebody before he created the universe. He knew you before he created the universe. And likewise, he knew who your partner was going to be, and he knows who you're going to end up with, right?
Typically, people would think that, in church you can meet someone, right? And what do you think about that?
Oh, wow. You really wanted to ask this question.
Yes.
So I think, this question was thrown at me a lot when I was single by my Christian sisters, people at church. And they would say, Joe, why aren't guys hitting on me at church? Why, I honestly, if you're a Christian single, the best place that logically you think is the place to meet somebody is at church, right? But a lot of the times it's one of the hardest places to meet somebody, simply because if you have been attending one church for an extended period of time, a lot of guys joke about this, but you have one silver bullet, because so many people at church and they know you, and there's so many different social circles within the church, right? You have different connect groups. You're serving in different parts of the ministry, and if you like somebody and you make a move on that girl, chances are, if you find somebody attractive at church, there's like 55 different people
who
also think that person is attractive. And if you hit it off, that's amazing. And let's say you do start dating that person. And if it goes all the way and you marry that person, it's amazing. Absolutely. Wow.
Godly marriage.
God did it. Right. And congratulations. But a lot of the times, if it doesn't go well, and then which is obviously happens, right? Even if you are two Christians, it doesn't mean that you're meant for each other.
Right.
Things can happen in a relationship. So you break up. After you break up, people start talking in that church. You're kind of, you might become like the gossip of the town, right? So to speak. That happened to me. I'm talking from experience. So then, for me to become interested in another person and try to make a move on that person was like infinitely harder, because
sounds like you made a lot of moves.
No, I didn't. But when I did, it's like now
Everyone knows.
all the eyeballs are on you. You're just like oh, he used to date that girl. Now he likes her. What a player.
Oh
you
my
know?
goodness.
There's a lot of things like that. So there's a lot of pressure involved, women. So like girls out there, we want to tell you, men, they might like you. They might actually have a crush on you at church, but it's hard to make a move because, it's a holy environment. You don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to. You don't want people to think of you in a certain way.
Right.
And so there's a lot of caution behind it.
And you want to keep attending the church as well.
Yeah, you want to keep attending the church if you really like the church. And again, if it happens and, there's people who meet at church and they get married, which is amazing. That's like the dream, right? That's like the dream for everybody. You want to meet somebody that you are in love with at church and then just hit it off and then, like la la la, right?
Yeah.
But just to answer a lot of girls out there who ask this question, why don't guys make a move at church? Why aren't they hitting on me, so to speak, or why aren't they trying to initiate more at church? Right?
I was really curious about this. Because I'm like, naturally, of course, church is a place.
Of course, logically it is a place, and for a lot of people it actually might be that place.
I've seen many different cases of two non-Christians marry and they face certain life challenges. Something happened in their life, whether sickness or something happened tragic, and they turn to God. They give church a go and they become Christian. I've seen those cases.
What you're okay, yeah.
Now, I've seen cases like a male in the relationship is Christian and then female is not, and they become Christian more, right? Cases like the woman is Christian and the man is not. I think those are the hardest cases. Because I keep hearing this different type of stories that the woman was praying for the husband for 20-30 years and at the end like he has cancer or something and he accepts Jesus and they become Christian, like strong like believers, right?
Yes.
Those cases. But then you have to remember that she's been praying for 30 years, going to church by herself for 30 years. And raising kids is a whole another thing because you're gonna keep talking about, okay, should we can I bring kids to church and back and forth and all of that, right? So what is your opinion on this? I think it's just really, really hard. If one person is Christian and the other is not, and so on.
I think we call it the missionary dating myth, and it's the belief that, hey, maybe God wants me to date this person who's not a Christian and potentially marry this person so that he can save him through me. And the reason why we call it a myth is because it's extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult because, first of all, the mistake that Christians make, that I made, I think you made too, is that we think that we can change somebody. And that, my friends, is a very big mistake. We can't do anything. God is the one who changes hearts.
That's right.
If it wasn't for God, I would never be a Christian. Let's just put it that way, right? And so a lot of the times, if it does happen where a person marries a non-Christian and that person becomes a Christian later on in life, that is truly God's miracle. Okay? It's amazing. That is such an amazing testimony. But it is very rare and it's an extremely difficult and long road. Because let's be real here. When you like somebody, when you start dating and let's say you're Christian and I'm not, as a man, I like you. I'm going to say whatever it takes to get you.
Is it true?
It is true, right? And because I might think that I want to be Christian at that time because I like you so much.
Oh.
Right? So
that's so crazy.
Yeah. So I might be like, you know what? Let's go to church. Let's go to that Bible study. hey, let's join your connect group. And through that process, if I get changed, that's amazing. But more often than not, what I've seen is that when a relationship starts like that, and he says or she says yes to exploring Christianity, going to church with you, and then kind of easing into the dating process that way, more often than not, there's always something that goes wrong. And that person later on decides, like, you know what, I don't understand why do you have to go to church every Sunday? I went with you to church. Like, why can't we just do it once a month?
Yeah.
Like, I understand that you love God. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't know if I ever will be. Okay? And so why do we have to do this? And then that starts, you get into arguments day and night, every single day. And so more often than not, I've seen that happen. I've done that myself, right? Where I try to convince somebody because of the missionary dating myth. I thought, hey, God, use me to change this person. I think you want me to be with this person so that I can change this person.
Yeah.
God's like, nope, I'm not. That wasn't my plan. I want you to be with a Christian.
Yeah.
I want
Which
you
is
to
true.
be with somebody, who loves me like you do. Okay?
Amen.
And so a lot of the times that is the case. Again, there are exceptions, but it is very few in between.
It's like it's up to me, right? You get one choice of choosing someone. And your parents, your family, you don't choose, but God really gave you one opportunity to choose your family member, and that's your spouse.
True.
And if you're going to pick one team player, you have to pick right. You have to pick someone who's on the same path as you.
Correct.
And it was up to me to pick a Christian man as you. And now we can start this podcast to help other Christians, right? If I picked a non-Christian man, as awesome as he might be, or, I probably was spending that energy and time convincing you to go to church with me.
Yeah, we wouldn't be doing this podcast. I never dreamed that I would even be doing a podcast, period, let alone a Christian, Christian podcast.
Truly a miracle.
And my grandma too, man, the story that comes to my mind is my grandma on my mom's side, and she passed away. Beautiful, amazing woman. And she was a Christian long before my grandfather was. And she prayed for his salvation for decades. I don't know exactly how long, but she was praying, Lord, please save my husband, because she loved Jesus and she wanted the same life and salvation opportunity for her husband, and he just wouldn't have it. He was a very successful music producer, very, very well respected, was drinking and smoking day and night, just enjoyed his life a lot, but didn't have the Lord. And then my grandma's prayer became more and more desperate, and it went from, Lord, save my husband and help him to love you, to, Lord, whatever it takes, please save my husband. Even if you have to make him sick, even if he has to have cancer, please save him through that. And lo and behold, he developed lung cancer and struggled for many years with that. And through that process, he accepted Jesus.
Wow.
And he became saved because he got sick. He realized that, oh my God, life is short. And, he was saying, like, my wife's prayers, my wife's God is real, right? And my wife's prayers have led me to this point. And God opened his heart and he was saved. So for the remainder of his life, he lived till he was like 85. So he lived a pretty, good life, decent life, long life. And, he's with the Lord. But that was decades and decades of toil and sacrifice and crying and tears and, just, Lord, please, save him. And I heard that a lot of the times she couldn't even tell him she was going to church, because he didn't like it.
Right.
And I'm sure that, people like that too, where it's, one spouse is like, don't go to church, I don't like it, and then the other person needs to go in secret.
Because they have to spend the time alone on Sundays.
Right.
They don't like that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And so the takeaway is that it's not impossible, of course, but it's just it's really
signing
really
up for something
difficult.
really hard.
Yeah.
So final takeaway from this is that it's not about being better as Christian. It's about not hiding your deepest passion from your closest person.
Yes.
And if I have to hide my passion for Jesus from the person that I love the most, that is a torture,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's one of the things too when we were single dating non-Christians. I couldn't really tell people to what extent I really believed in God.
I never really shared about my faith part in
such
depth.
Yeah, because you can't.
I can't. I'm not gonna be understood.
Yeah.
So what is the point of even
Yeah.
sharing?
And yeah, this week's challenge is amazing. Truly align my heart with yours. Give us the eyes to see clearly and the ears to hear, and give me discernment in all my decisions in dating. But this doesn't apply to dating. For many of our audiences, they might be married or they might be at different stages of life. You need discernment in all aspects of life. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
And
we love you.
we love you.